1990, Brian Dorkson, a songwriter with the Vineyard, released a song entitled Refiner's Fire. In the chorus, we read the lyrics, "Refiner's fire, my heart's one desire is to be holy, set apart for you, Lord. I choose to be holy, set apart for you, my Master, ready to do your will." This Barry Phillips with 10-minute Torah, day number 5 of the Torah portion, V'yelech. Continuing toward the end of chapter 31 in the book of Devarim, or Deuteronomy, Moshe offers some heartbreaking, heart-wrenching news. It's not that he's going to die. The people already know that, but he's beginning to foretell their future failures. He says that Yahweh said to Moshe, this is in verse 16, "See, you are about to sleep with your fathers, and this people shall rise and whore after the mighty ones of the strangers of the land, into the midst of which they shall enter, and forsake me, and break my covenant which I have made with them." The idea that the master of the universe, the creator of all things, would select a people, bring them out of complete slavery into a place of freedom, and now is promising them the inheritance of a land that is beyond their imagination in its productivity and fruit bearing, a place where he will guard them by the covering of his name and give them an opportunity to build him a house, to worship him in the land. He's given them instructions as to how to be a society, how to raise their families, how to build their businesses. He's promised them that they will be prosperous, receive homes that they did not build, vineyards that they did not plant, crops that they did not plant. It's ready-made. Just go in and take it. And he says, when I give them this covenant, I myself, I'm giving them this covenant, and they're going to reject it. It seems unthinkable. It seems beyond any plausibility. But in verse 17, he says, "Then my displeasure shall burn against them in that day, and I shall forsake them and hide my face from them." Hide his face. That means that when they turn their face toward him, his face will not be recognizing them. "They shall be consumed, and many evils and distresses shall come upon them. And it shall be said in that day, is it not because our Elohim is not in their midst that these evils have come among us, or come upon us?" Are there not many evils that have come upon us in the places where we are? Here in America, we are consumed with American problems. We see the changing of our government and its attitude toward its own people. We see a consistent system, a consistent slate of failures, one after the other. Inflation's on the rise. Our enemies are laughing at us. On and on the list goes. And I won't bore you with that. And other nations in the earth, there's great violence. There's great upheaval. I think of South Africa and our dear friends there. And all the pain that you've endured with violent murders taking place. I think of Australia that has been completely locked down. And I have some chosen ones that are there. I pray that you're well. Other nations in the earth, people struggle. They're hurting. Is it not because that we as a people the world over, that we have turned our face from his face? And now that we're desperate, we're looking for him. Where are you? Where are you? And his face is not to be found. In the book of Malachi, chapter number 3, maybe it seems a bit of a departure, but I don't think so. In the book of Malachi, in chapter number 3, we begin to read about the appearance of the one who is going to come and announce the Messiah. This is speaking and prophesying of Yochanan the Immerser, John the Baptist. And he says in verse number 1, "See, I'm sending my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. Then suddenly the master you are seeking comes to his Hekel, to his temple. even the messenger of the covenant in whom you delight. See, he is coming, said Yahweh of hosts. And who is able to bear the day of his coming, and who is able to stand when he appears? For he is like the refiner of fire, and like the soap of a launderer or a fuller. Refiner's fire. I was researching this some long number of years ago, a couple of decades now, and from what I remember, the process is that one would take ore, whether it's gold or silver or copper, whatever the material is, and the ore is put into a crucible. Heat is applied. Times of testing, the testing is applied. Heat is applied until the ore begins to break down into its various properties. Once it is heating to the place that the metals within it begin to be molten, then the debris, the impurities, the properties that do not belong begin to rise to the surface, and they are lopped off. One who is called the purifier stands guard, and he skims off the impurities from the top. And this process continues with more and more heat, more and more time, until nothing else is rising to the top and the purifier can see his own reflection in the molten metal. Is that not the process that Yah is taking us through? Is that he is purifying us through the testing of hard times. Kefa, the Simon Peter, if you will, he wrote about these days in First Peter, chapter number 4, beginning with verse number 12. Beloved ones, do not be surprised at the fiery trial which is coming upon you to try you as though some unusual matter is befalling you. But as you share in Messiah's sufferings, rejoice in order that you might rejoice exultantly at the revelation of his esteem. Let's understand then that the fire comes to prove us. It comes to get the impurities out. Many of you have entered into the days of awe. You have blown trumpets for Yom Teruah. You have eaten apples and honey for Rosh Hashanah, if I can say that correctly. Ever how you have chosen to celebrate. I'm on a little different calendar. I'm not there yet, but I know many of you are. And so I celebrate with you. I encourage you in your observances, and I applaud you for seeking the Father's face and doing what he has commanded. But as you've entered into these days of awe, do not be surprised if the ugly comes to the surface. Words that we didn't know that we had hidden inside of us, attitudes that we thought we might have gotten rid of, the junk. As the heat and as the pressure of prayer and seeking his face and finding his face comes, the heat will also release the impurities of our innermost being. And as they rise to the surface, be thankful. Be careful what you say. Don't offend people. But even if you do, if the junk comes and you realize, I didn't know that was in there. It's in there. Let the Father faithfully use his messenger, the declaring of the word of Yah, the appearance of Yeshua in your midst. Bring up these things in order that they may be purified from you. In order that the only reflection that is seen in you is the face of Messiah. After all, that's what we're supposed to be striving for, is that our words are the words that we hear him speak, as the words he spoke were the words he heard his Father speak. That the deeds that we do are those that he's shown to us as he did the works of his Father. That we exemplify his compassion, his tender loving kindness and his mercies, the offering of his grace, but also a firm, resolute heart that says, I will not disobey your Torah, lest these things come upon us. So for those that are feasting, Chag Sameach, happy feast days, and Shabbat Shalom to all of you. May the shalom, the well-being, the favor, and the joy of Yah be upon you and yours, as you celebrate His presence on this special set-apart day. Until next week, shalom.